Judas of Nazareth, the Irish guy from BioShock, and Bruz the Chopper. They've all got one thing in common. They're all filthy traitors. And what do you do with filthy traitors? Well, you make them as miserable as possible. And that's exactly what I'm doing in this video. I have conceived the ultimate 5-step plan to make Bruz regret and repent his traitorous ways. And you too can use this at home to make your own Bruz as miserable as possible. So come along on this psychological torment adventure to see just how low Bruz can fall. But before he falls, step 1 is to make all of his dreams come true. And what does Bruz want more than anything in the world? Well, he wants to become the overlord of his very own fortress.
I want nothing to do with the fort.
He may now be constantly stating the opposite, but no. I know his true intent. I know his true dreams, and that is to be the overlord. But first we need to build up his confidence, so I jump aboard my trusty grog and I track him down.
Nothing to do with the fort.
Liar! You liar!
I have to make him believe that he's bested me in a fight. Ah, stop! You're ruining my plans! You're ruining everything! Yeah! Now, Bruz, where were we? After our truly epic battle, Bruz is finally able to land the finishing blow. This is the ultimate way to get his confidence up. He has to believe like he's earned being an overlord. I can't have him suspect a thing. With Bruz having now defeated Talion, his confidence has skyrocketed. The next thing that I need to do is I need to lose my fortress so that Bruz can become the overlord. I get rid of every high-level orc that I have in the region. I then begin stripping my fortress of all of my strong orcs. But in order for Bruz to truly believe that he is now the overlord, I need to make this somewhat believable. So I summon in other orcs to the region who I would consider to be somewhat cannon fodder. These orcs are basically sacrifices for whenever the fortress is raided. And with that in mind, I select the perfect overlord, the faithful. He has complete faith in me. He knows that he's about to be sacrificed, but it's all for the greater good. He's willing. With all of the orcs now in place and the fortress looking significantly weaker, of course, a force of orcs soon assembles outside the front gate. They can tell that this is the right opportunity to take this fortress back. And of course, this is the name of the orc that leads the assault.
You should never have taken his fort from us! Now we'll make you pay!
A filthy hoglick. Defending the first point by himself, we've got the Raft Breeder. Taking a closer look at the leader of the fort raid, Hoglick the Mad-Eye actually looks pretty interesting. And then another Hoglick of the Welts gets taken out by the wall exploding. That is just embarrassing. I then begin to fight Hoglick the Mad-Eye. I've had a bit of a change of heart and I've decided that I don't want any Hoglicks inside my fortress, even if I'm basically giving this away.
I hope we can get the man stench off our fort when we snatch it back from you!
We've got to make this look believable. I feel like Bruz is definitely watching this raid from afar. So even though I'm gonna let them take this fortress, a few of the orcs have to die in the wreckage.
Oh! They expect one of us in the wreckage, brother.
While the breeder continues to fight, more orc captains begin to arrive, which leads to him immediately becoming overwhelmed. Good job, Raft Breeder. You've done your part. With the first point now taken, more orcs arrive.
One step closer to victory, boys!
The second point soon falls after,
Onward!
and then the third point. At this stage in the raid, things were going swimmingly. Orcs were flooding in, the points were being captured, and my various different cannon fodder orcs were serving their purpose. And then one of my beautiful walls crumbled, and a main character arrived.
You're wavering, boys! We can...
Grisha the Pickler. I love Pickler orcs, and I basically never see them. I 100% have to recruit this weird Pickler lad. I take out a broken Olog again, trying to make it more convincing for Bruz, who is surely watching this raid unfold. With the orcs now very easily having made their way inside the inner walls, the faithful enters the fight.
It's time to stop it. Just stop it.
With the orcs flooding in, I realize that there is quite a lot of them, so I frantically try and take out as many as I can. There's so many of them, in fact, that they even begin to attack each other. And after I destroy the crippler of my threshing sword, they take the fortress. I lose control of the region. My faithful is taken hostage, which is very annoying for him because he really wanted to die for me. And a giant pickle Olog becomes the overlord. No, 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 this won't do. With the fortress now ready for the taking, I track down Bruz. And it seems like he's been having a bit of a feast, probably trying to get his strength up. I follow the trail deeper into the cave, where I find him looking quite excited. I have a chat with him, and despite him saying he doesn't want the fortress, I know exactly what he wants. He can't trick me, not again. We are then rudely interrupted by the fearmonger. To make this convincing so that Bruz truly believes that he should become the new overlord, I decide to focus and destroy the fearmonger first, thus making Bruz believe that this is indeed a real fight. With the fearmonger now destroyed and my Nazgul powers dissipating, I appear weak. The chopper moves in for the kill.
I didn't even want it.
And despite what he says, this is what he does. Immediately.
Long live the king.
It only took one time. He wants this fortress with every fiber of his being. Even if his mind is slightly gone, he still craves to be the overlord. With all of Bruz's dreams coming true, I let him enjoy it for a little bit. Before initializing step 2, tear him down. For this step will be taking away everything that Bruz has dreamt of, everything that he has just achieved. And we're gonna start by taking away his beloved fortress. And to do this, I first assemble a team of the orcs which Bruz despises the most, the runts. I start by calling in an orc so pathetic he's even named Bootlick. Can you imagine Bruz peering over his defenses and seeing that he's being raided by an orc which was named for licking his boots? Alongside him we have a pathetic orc named the Tiny, and another one named the Puny. Bruz values strength over everything else, so being raided by runts would be a massive blow to his ego. But not only that, dear viewer. Leading this army of runts, I've managed to recruit 2 very well-known Ologs to Bruz. His own brothers, Baz and Gaz. And as if things couldn't go any worse for him at this moment, he then does this.
You should have stayed in the fort. I didn't even want it. I don't even know who you are.
Not only has he suffered the ultimate humiliation of being raided by an army of pathetic runts, being led by his own brothers, but he's also just broken the neck of a faithful orc to him, who he believed to be a spy.
I'm not trying to take the fort.
With him going on to deliver his predictable speech, it was then his brother's turn.
We all gotta die sometime.
You were wrong about Bruz. He's fine.
Also, yeah, you might have noticed Baz has been previously shamed, so he's also lost his mind. Although I do love that when he went crazy, he got dialogue that was referencing Bruz.
You were wrong about Bruz. He's fine.
Heading on into the fortress, I find a nice pair of orcs who I think would be best friends. First of all, we've got the skin chewer here.
I swear.
And then right after that, the other orc that was defending the same point was actually called the skin peeler. They 100% would have been best friends. I actually kind of regret not recruiting both of them now. At the next point we find some very shocked looking orcs. I destroy Bruz's discipline master. At the next point, the Twisted then takes out somebody who watches me on Twitch. I then have an interesting chat with him.
Like a bit of Uruk fighting Uruk, do you? Come on then, join in.
I wonder how hard it would be to pull out every bone in your body while you're still alive.
I always really liked the Twisted, so I'm gonna recruit this guy. Actually, never mind, he's got Iron Will, so I'm gonna hit him with the Mind Crush instead.
Mind crush!
I then use my Nazgul Rage at the next point to destroy the Blood Pike. As well as the Corruptor. I then summon my beautiful elemental Grog and we smash on through the inner gate, where I spot a glimpse at the majestic Pickler Orc. Just look at him. Look at all those little vials and things. What even is that on his back? I begin to burn all of the grunts in the vicinity. Before jumping off and beginning to focus on the Pickler myself. The Heart Eater gets taken out by my vanilla Elven Light. And then I'm able to get on in there and lay hands on the Pickler, recruiting him to my side. Good news for my army, we now have an unlimited supply of pickles. And other pickled things like human babies, ? The Flesh Lover then slides across the very slippery floor. There's quite a bit of a sort of flesh eater, flesh picker, flesh chewer theme going on in Bruz's fortress. I then execute the Gut Ripper. And then I have a chat with the last remaining Olog defending Bruz's base. And his name disappoints me massively.
Darkness comes. Many lie down to sleep.
His name is Giggles. But I didn't hear any laughter. I didn't hear even one giggle. To double check this, I down him and have another conversation.
Ranger does not kill Olog. Olog kill Ranger.
But he doesn't giggle again. Not even a single chuckle. So he's got to go. Honestly, I can't have an Olog existing in my Shadow of War world named the Giggle, and he doesn't even giggle or chuckle or laugh once. Pathetic. With that lang Olog now destroyed, I head on into Bruz's throne room. Sorry, Bruz, your holiday is over.
I want nothing to do with the food. Your food.
Oh, stop lying, Bruz. We all know you want the fortress. You jumped at the first opportunity to get it. You only destroyed Talion once and you claimed the fortress, mate. What are you talking about you don't want the fort? You took it immediately. You couldn't wait to get your greedy fat sausage fingers on this fortress in this throne room, mate. With Bruz now getting up and ready to defend his throne room and his fortress, I summon in a pathetic orc which would surely make him very, very angry to lose to. Ashgarn the Tiny. As I've said, Bruz values strength, so losing to a runt like this would send him spiraling. And worse yet, this runt is also a deserter, so not only is he pathetic, but he's also a coward. I summon in my elemental Grog and I begin to burn every grunt and runt and lad inside this throne room, trying to give the Tiny a chance to fight Bruz and maybe inflict a wound or two. Every time the Tiny lands a hit on Bruz, he gets angrier and angrier. But ultimately, this added rage also makes Bruz stronger, so he defeats the Tiny with ease. I jump off my Grog and I get the Tiny back up onto his frail, pathetic legs. And together, the two of us begin laying into Bruz. Like Captain America and Bucky taking on Iron Man. We are in sync. We are beautiful. And because of our beautiful fighting, it doesn't take long for Bruz to break. And then there's only one thing left to do. Shame! With Bruz's dream now shattered and him cast out of his own fortress, I deliver my badass speech.
I am the king of the mountaintop. I reign supreme over everyone in this school. I am the golden god of this place. I reign supreme. I...
And then I rub even more salt into the gaping wound that I have just inflicted by making Bruz's own follower, the Pickler, the new overlord. Not only was he Bruz's follower, but he was also a runt, which I imagine will make Bruz even more angry. His once impressive throne room has been turned into a bit of an alchemy lab, but instead of making tonics and elixirs, he's pickling various things. With the fortress now in strong, wet hands, it's time to initiate step 3 of my master plan, family trauma. To start this off, I send Bruz's own brother Baz after him.
There's nothing wrong with Bruz. Nothing at all. And I don't want to hear any different.
Bruz is confronted by his crazy brother Baz, and rather annoyingly, one of my orcs also goes along, and this just so happens to be, I think, my strongest orc, Bagger the Torturer, so I need to rush in there and get him the hell out of there, because he might kill Bruz. And Bruz dying at this point is not in my step-by-step plan, so you've got to go, Bagger. Goodbye. With Bagger the Torturer now sent on his way, I let the two brothers fight it out. I can only begin to imagine the emotions and the feelings that Bruz is thinking, fighting his own brother. It's like that MMA movie, Warrior. The two of them continue to lay into each other, until my viewing is rudely interrupted.
Talion, I come back for you.
Fearmonger, this is not the right time! Can't you see I'm executing a step-by-step procedural plan to make Bruz as miserable as possible? What the hell are you doing here? With the Fearmonger now ambushing me, I've got to speed up this step. So once Baz is down, I hit the Fearmonger in the face. I have a quick chat with Bruz. You're not gonna guess what he says to me. And then I explode his brother's head right in front of him, most likely causing irreparable trauma to Bruz. You can't really see it on his face, but he's hurting. With Baz's headless body flopping to the floor, I then summon in Bruz's other brother, Gaz. I let them fight for a little bit, and then I do the same thing again. This quite naturally terrifies the Fearmonger.
But I want the food.
I then dominate Bruz, and I hit him with the Hands of Doom. Although this time, instead of shaming him, I try to implant the memories of his brother's heads exploding permanently into his brain. I then hunt down the Fearmonger and shame him down as well. How dare he try and get in the way of me making Bruz as miserable as possible. Once Bruz regains his thoughts, I track him down again, ready to implement step 4, the forced piggyback. I slowly weaken him down with a series of threshing sword attacks and elven lights. Before he's weak enough and willing enough to be saddled, I see my opportunity, I dive aboard, and then our adventure begins. I have to say that my plan was to bring Bruz all the way down to the lava, but after a bit of time tinkering, it didn't really seem possible. My plan also was to take Bruz on a bit of a holiday, picking back around the various different landmarks across Mordor. But after a very long time of trying, he just didn't want to go to my garrison. He straight up refused. Once I learnt that Bruz had a fear of flying and didn't want to go on holiday with me, I summoned him to the back of the fortress where I was planning on piggybacking him around with a beautiful backdrop of the Great Eye. But then I learned that no matter how many times I hit him, he now, in his weakened state, refused to betray me. So I was left with no choice but to jump to step 5, break his mind more. And this step is exactly what you imagine it is. Shaming Bruz down over and over again until there's nothing left. But how far can I push his mind? Will he even eventually stop speaking altogether? So I begin to hunt Bruz down, shaming him every single time we meet.
You cannot resist.
And I was actually very surprised to see that he went deranged here. I thought that he already was deranged.
On your knees.
He then gets stuck in this horrible nightmare loop, where he spawns into the exact same area over and over again, only to get shamed by me.
Trying to take the fort.
Eventually, he goes all the way down to level 1, where he's just now known as Bruz. Not the Chopper, not even the Chopped, just Bruz. And it's now where I have to be extremely careful with him, not to kill him, not to hit any vital organs or arteries. To be extra careful, I opt to just hit him with my throwing knives. I then begin to shame this weakened level 1 Bruz down, over and over again. Let's count them down together.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 6. 5, 6. 7. 7.
With Bruz now having gone through absolute hell, rising up, becoming the overlord, being overthrown by an army of runts being led by his actual brothers, then to lose his throne and have his brothers' heads popped in front of him, only to be piggybacked and humiliated across Mordor, and then to have his level and his own name taken away from him. There's only one thing left in my mind to do to Bruz now. And that is to jump aboard my Gorgoroth Fire Grog and give him the hot summer pavement Anakin Skywalker Gollum Jacuzzi McDonald's apple pie treatment. Returning him to the ashes. Goodbye, Bruz. May we never meet again. Just joking, guys. Of course I know Bruz is gonna come back. Of course he's going to come back. The amount of interactions we had, the fact that he's Bruz, I know that he is 100% coming back, alright? He's gonna come back scarred, brutalized, probably level 80 again. He's gonna come back, lads, alright? So this is not me killing him, this is me just burning him and horrendously scarring him, alright? But I want you guys to leave a comment down below. What should we do to Bruz when he inevitably returns?
It's your fault. I want nothing to do with the fort.